Senator Kelly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, welcome. Very nice meeting you and your family. The administration's fiscal year 23 budget requested a growth in Space Force end strength from 8,400 to 8,600 Guardians. And this committee's version of the NDAA supports that request. The military's emphasis and reliance on global space operations will demand a robust force moving forward. But there are concerns that budgets for the Space Force are expected to flatline in fiscal year 27. So what type of growth do you foresee in the Space Force over the next 5 or 10 years?
Senator, I wouldn't want to comment on any particular numbers. Just haven't had a chance to really dig in and see what appropriate levels would be. However, I can tell you that in my estimation, looking at the readiness of the force, there is substantial capabilities in test and training infrastructure that we need to invest in. If we have exquisite weapon systems, exquisite systems on orbit to provide joint capabilities, but our Guardians and our operators don't have the skills, the training, the experience they need to make the most out of those systems, then I feel like we're not really fully combat ready, fully ready to do those critical mission tasks.
What are some examples of those capabilities?
We don't have simulators that allow our operators to practice their tactics against a thinking adversary, even if it's a simulated adversary. We don't have good simulators. We don't have ranges where they can routinely practice their tradecraft. We don't have the ability to link multiple units together so they can practice the coordination that's necessary to do large force employments, if you will. We've just been operating in a benign environment for so long, we didn't need to necessarily have those kinds of capabilities. And so I think over the next few years, we're going to have to look at that and be as specific as we can, but provide that kind of training and experience to our operators.
Yeah, I mean, having the equipment and the capability is one thing. Being able to use it is entirely another. And being able to, simulate operations on a range, operate jointly as well. I imagine that's something that's on the agenda. A simulator and range, that's infrastructure. Is there any other infrastructure capacity that you feel you need?
We're continuing to build and design a more resilient, defendable architecture. As I mentioned, we've operated for years in a benign domain. And so we were focused more on the capabilities of the payloads and how long they would last on orbit, try to get the most out of the expensive launch that put them into orbit. Launch prices are coming down. We're doing distributed architectures because they're more resilient. We're trying to think about ways to disaggregate our payloads so they're not as easy targets. All of that is new investment in new force design, and so it's going to come with a transition from our legacy capabilities to these new architectures. That'll be work that we're doing in the requirements phase and in the force design phase, and if confirmed, I look forward to working with the committee to get that balance as we transition from legacy to the new architecture right.
Senator King asked about recruiting, and you mentioned from the Air Force Academy you have more volunteers to go into the Space Force than you have spots. In the enlisted ranks, how is recruiting there?
It's very good. Again, despite the fact that we're looking for highly capable, highly technical skills, we have more volunteers than we have spots to fill. Just, again, we're lucky. We're a small force at this point, doing a very specific mission set, and so we can handpick, and we're really getting solid volunteers.
It's one thing getting people, it's another thing getting the right people. Have you felt the need to do any marketing of the Space Force at this point?
Lots of people are doing marketing for us. It's working out to our advantage. We're also very active in going to specific universities where there are underrepresented populations to make sure that we're looking across the board to bring the right people in, the right kind of diversity, the right kinds of diversity of thought, the right backgrounds and skills. And so far, we've been very successful in doing that.
All right. Thank you, General.
Yes, sir.
And I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Senator Fisher, please.